沈总，请你不要总说一些侮辱欧米伽的话，这有违 ABO 平权协议的相关规定。
怎么了，高图？你一个贝塔要替欧米伽去告我
？Have you ever seen a love story so intense, so heartbreaking, that every chapter feels like life and death? Today, we're diving into the tragic yet unforgettable story of Shen Wenlang and Gao Tu. A story filled with longing, misunderstandings, betrayal, and the desperate search for love. Shen Wenlang was a man who had everything: power, wealth, influence. But when it came to love, he was completely helpless. The one person he couldn't control, the one person who made his heart ache beyond reason, was Gao Tu. And one day, that fragile connection between them snapped. Gao Tu disappeared. At first, Shen Wenlang thought he could find him easily. He had the resources, the money, the network. But as days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, Shen Wenlang went mad. He searched endlessly, throwing away his pride, his sanity, and even his reputation, just for the chance to see Gao Tu again. But why did Gao Tu run away in the first place? The truth was heartbreaking. After falling into a coma from a dangerous pregnancy, Gao Tu nearly lost his life. He had resigned from his job and escaped, terrified that Shen Wenlang would force him to abort the child. Gao Tu's fear wasn't baseless. He remembered the cold words Shen Wenlang once spoke: "If my Omega gets pregnant, I'll get rid of the baby." Those words haunted him, and in his fragile, vulnerable state, he believed them with his whole heart. So he ran. It was during those desperate days of escape that Gao Tu accidentally encountered Ma Heng, his childhood friend. For years, Ma Heng had secretly loved Gao Tu from afar. To him, Gao Tu was always the untouchable one, the beautiful, unreachable boy who, he believed, was a beta. Someone ordinary. Someone safe. But when he found Gao Tu on the run, pale and weak, Ma Heng's world shattered, because the truth was exposed. Gao Tu wasn't a beta. He was an Omega. And not only that, he was pregnant. Shocked, but determined, Ma Heng rushed him to the hospital as Gao Tu's health began to collapse. The doctors were stunned. By all logic, Gao Tu shouldn't have even been able to get pregnant. For years, he had been on suppressant medications and pheromone-blocking injections. But because his first time with Shen Wenlang happened during both his heat and Wenlang's rut, and because their compatibility was so incredibly high, the impossible had happened. He carried life inside him. But pregnancy without an alpha's soothing pheromones was a death sentence. His glands were swollen and red. His heart stopped multiple times on the operating table. It took 4 grueling hours for the doctors to revive him. And yet, miraculously, the baby survived. To save Gao Tu's life, doctors implanted a pheromone blocker in the back of his neck to stop his body from releasing dangerous levels of pheromones. But he wasn't out of danger yet. He needed alpha pheromones. Desperately. So the doctors checked his compatibility with Ma Heng. The result? Over 65%. More than enough to stabilize him. And so, Ma Heng stepped in. He became Gao Tu's volunteer alpha, soothing him day and night, holding him through every wave of pain, and giving him the strength to recover. For 14 days, he was the only reason Gao Tu survived. But even after being discharged, Gao Tu wasn't safe. His sister Gao Qing warned him that Shen Wenlang was still searching relentlessly. And so, with Ma Heng's help, he ran again. The first time Shen Wenlang almost found him, Gao Tu barely slipped away. He changed his pheromone patch and escaped just before Wenlang arrived at his old apartment. When Shen Wenlang entered, he caught just the faintest trace of Gao Tu's scent lingering in the air. It was enough to confirm his worst fear. Gao Tu had been there. He had been so close, yet still out of reach. And then, Shen Wenlang snapped. He bought tens of thousands of advertisements across 3 entire cities, broadcasting Gao Tu's face everywhere. On billboards, on screens, on buses, everywhere. People whispered behind his back, "Isn't this too much? Is this really just for an old classmate? Or is there something more between them?" But Shen Wenlang didn't care. His world had narrowed to one thing and one thing only: finding Gao Tu. Meanwhile, Gao Tu's fear only deepened. He didn't understand. He didn't know why Wenlang was chasing him so madly. All he could remember were those cruel words about getting rid of an unwanted child. To him, Wenlang wasn't searching out of love. He was searching out of control, out of power, out of the need to take his baby away. And Gao Tu refused. He refused to meet him, refused to be suppressed by his alpha pheromones again, refused to lose his child. It was a tragic misunderstanding, one that twisted their fates further apart. As all of this unfolded, Shen Wenlang himself was crumbling. He entered rut, his body aching, his mind screaming for his omega. For Gao Tu, the cravings were unbearable. He spent sleepless nights scrolling through their old WeChat messages, clinging to every memory. There was one video he rewatched hundreds of times. Just a short clip of Gao Tu in a dressing room, folding clothes, holding up a shirt and asking softly, "Does this one look good, Mr. Shen?" It was nothing. Just a fleeting moment. But for Shen Wenlang, it was everything. His treasure. His torture. Desperate, he even lowered himself to call Gao Tu's father. "Have you heard from him?" he asked. The man lied, pretending ignorance before thanking Wenlang for saving his life and for the money he'd received. He promised that if he found Gao Tu, he would hand him over. Shen Wenlang knew better than to trust him, but he had no other choice. He was willing to grasp at even the weakest straw if it meant finding Gao Tu again. He pulled medical records, chased leads, bribed officials. And finally, he discovered the truth that Gao Tu had been in critical condition, had nearly died, but had survived thanks to another alpha. A doctor told him. He has an alpha by his side now. A very good-looking man, very caring. Their compatibility isn't low either. As long as this alpha is with him, he'll be safe. So don't worry, Mr. Shen. Whether Gao Tu keeps the child or not, he won't be in danger again. But those words only drove Shen Wenlang further into madness. Whether he keeps the child or not. What do you mean? As long as that alpha is there. That wasn't just Gao Tu's child. That was his child too. Why should another alpha be the one soothing his omega and his baby? And so, suspicion grew. Shen Wenlang became convinced that Maheng had smuggled Gao Tu out of the country. He checked travel records, scoured immigration files, searched everywhere. But Gao Tu had left no trace. Maheng's passport was expired, unused. No flights, no trains, no exits, which could only mean one thing: they were still here. Still within reach. What Wenlang didn't know was that Gao Tu's own father had orchestrated the escape. He had betrayed his own son, pulling strings and covering tracks to help them disappear. And so the chase continued. Shen Wenlang's desperation only grew sharper. If you want to see what happens next, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the continuation of this heartbreaking story.